Hi everyone, it's Michael and I'm here with number 3 in the collection. This is my Aloha Sparks Halloween Wilsonara. Now we are here today because we are going to divide this orchid. Now you may remember this was the subject of my bloom profile video. It had about a 4-foot flower spike and it was gorgeous. So I have been hesitating and resistant to dividing this plant just because I love the momentum it has and I want it to continue. But what I noticed as I did my monthly flushes today was that it has a new growth here which is getting completely pinched off. It has outgrown its container and it really does need to be divided or sized up, and I think that this is the time I do really want to divide it. You can see the leaves took a bit of a beating during the transition from Colorado because I packed it away super damp. It got a serious case of bacterial rot, so I had to clip away a lot of the leaves, but it's been doing great. I just want it to be doing better. So this is actually the very first divisions video. I've been planning to do this with a few of my orchids and I'm going to take you along as I do it. So let's go ahead and open this guy up and see if we can find a natural division point. All right, my friends, in preparation for this process, I've already done a few things, which is I've wiped down my workspace with an antiseptic wipe, just to ensure that I'm not spreading bacteria. And I've also sterilized my cutting tool with isopropyl alcohol at 70%. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not. I'm gonna try to avoid it, but if I need it, I have it ready. So the first step in this process is to go ahead and unpot it, which I hate because I hate disturbing these sweet little things. So give me just a moment. So you can see, I'll take you in on it. This guy has quite the vigorous root system. Look how beautiful it is. It's like a giant bowl of ramen. But now the challenge is to find the natural division point. Now the general rule of thumb you want to observe when dividing plants with pseudobulbs is each division needs at least 3 pseudobulbs. That will ensure that it has enough energy to sustain its own growth and continue to flower and do all of the wonderful things that we want our orchids to do. So now this one actually has 8 pseudobulbs. So there's a perfect natural division that appears to be right here between this guy and this guy. So I'm first going to try to wiggle these apart and see if I can get them to divide on their own. It causes less root damage. There will always be root damage in the process of a division, but I want to minimize it as much as possible. Now, if I can't get this to divide on its own, I'm going to have to flex in that knife. So let me just give this a try. All right, you guys, so this does not want to come easily. So I'm going to rearrange the camera and then we're going to begin the process of doing the cutting. So you guys can see exactly the point where I'm trying to divide it. It's gonna be right down here. So I'm going to use the knife, but I'm going to use it sparingly. I'm going to see if I can just gently encourage it to start to separate and then naturally pull the roots apart. So I'm just going to gently cut away at it. You guys, please be extra safe. I'm periodically a little careless with this stuff, and I've been lucky, but I won't always be lucky. So just make sure you're using it on a cutting surface where it's not going to create harm to you or to the plant. I can angle it this way towards you so you can see exactly where I'm. Do you guys see what I'm doing? And I'm literally just sawing this guy right in half. Oh, I'm sorry, I hate it. I feel like I'm hurting it. But I'm crunching through the meatiest part of that division. Okay, so now I've got a good divide started. Okay, so now that I've actually created this little incision, which believe it or not is through a lot of the sphagnum moss from when it was originally potted, even though I've already repotted it once. So now let me see if I can wiggle this apart. Ooh, it's starting to go. So I like to use this kind of back and forth wiggle motion, and you can start to twist a little bit as appropriate. God, leca is just popping out of everywhere. So I'm gonna keep going through like this until I get it apart. Oh, here we go. All right, you guys, and now 2 have become 1. Wait, no, that's a Spice Girls song. I meant 1 has become 2, LOL. Okay, so now that I have these bad boys separated into 2 separate divisions of 4, I'm going to take this time that I have access to the root system and try to pick out some of that sphagnum moss that is old and decaying, clean up some of the dead and decaying matter, and give it a really good, healthy, fresh start. Now you guys, check this out. Here is that new growth that was getting suffocated and trapped on the side. So you can see some of the new leaves have actually already rotted off from where it was being pinched. And it's continuing along somehow. So I think it's gonna be very, very happy to have some more of its own space. Oh, you guys, look how wonderful. The other division has a new growth as well. This was also being pinched. For whatever reason, I thought, oh wow. So this one has a new growth, which I thought was actually an old leaf. And this one also has a new growth. So this happens to be a little bit more perfect than I thought it would be, because now both of them have new potential, and that new growth can put down a new root system and really sustain and support this plant. Not that the old root system is not viable. I think the old root system will do just fine, except for the ones that we've damaged. So I'm gonna continue cleaning up from here. All right, guys, so off camera, I've done a few things. I've re-cleaned up my workspace. I have re-sanitized everything. And I've rinsed the root systems of both of the divisions. And the reason was I found a lot of that old sphagnum moss on the inside, which as we know, over time will begin to decay and actually impair the plant. So now that these have both been cleaned up, I'm going to get them repotted. Now, in the past, I've been super neurotic about not using old potting medium to repot, but since it's coming from the exact same plant, I feel totally fine repurposing it. So I've already gone ahead and put it in the strainer. I've rinsed the medium that I took directly out of the original container, and I'm going to repot both of these using that same medium. So we're gonna start with the smaller of the two divisions. Now, the most important thing is that you're giving the new growth space to move and breathe. So I'm actually going to just kind of size this out. The leca will squeeze right around this beautifully. And I'm just going to push the old bulbs to the back of the container like so. So this new guy has room to grow in. Now, eventually this will probably get sold. I'll sell this orchid if it does really, really well. But right now I'm just curious to see how it will recover from this entire process. So I'm going to fill the bottom with leca up to the drainage holes, and then I'll get everything placed. All right, my friends, it is all potted up. It looks happy and it looks healthy. I'm hoping, my only real concern about this division is that this one only has one big leaf after everything that happened with the transition from Colorado. So I'm hoping that that's gonna be enough to sustain the photosynthesis for the entire plant. But this guy's close on its heels, the new growth. I'll take you in closer so you can see what I'm talking about. But I think this guy is close behind, and he will put out big, beautiful, expansive leaves shortly. So I think everything should be just fine. Now I'm going to repeat this process again, but I'm going to do it into the original container, which is a little bit bigger, so it'll have even more room to grow up and be big. Now there's one really significant post-care guideline after you have divided and repotted your orchids, which is that you don't want to resume fertilizing with nutrient solution or watering with nutrient solution immediately. In the same way that you injure the roots when you use hydrogen peroxide or an antiseptic treatment, it creates micro wounds on the root system. And when you give it fertilizer solution, it can exaggerate those wounds by burning them. So because we have quite literally just taken a knife and divided this plant, the root system is a little bit damaged. So you really want to think of it like giving it time to scab over. So that being said, I'm going to repeat this process with the other division. I'm going to get it potted back into the original container, and then I will have 2 number 3s, which will be really fun. Thank you guys so much for choosing to spend your time with me. If you have any questions, concerns, or feedback about this process, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to click subscribe, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Mwah! Bye, guys.